Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can see here, I have some palettes that I'm going to be going through and doing a palette purge. I've been meaning to do this for a while now. Now I have two of these boxes full of palettes. And I know it doesn't seem like much, but I am actually running out of room to store these, so I do have to get rid of some. Some of these are brand new, some of them are really old and I just need to get rid of, and some of them I will be passing on to other people. So let's just dive right in and get going. The first one I'm going to talk about is this right here. This is a Huda Beauty Obsessions palette, and this is the Mauve Obsessions palette. I love this palette. I think it is gorgeous. I love the Obsessions palettes. I have a couple of them. I am definitely going to keep this one. I just think these colors are very pretty and unique, and I'm definitely going to keep this one. Again, that was the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions palette. Now I do have another one. This is the Coral Obsessions palette. This one I do think I am going to pass along to somebody that I know will love it. I'm going to obviously sanitize it and clean it up so that they are able to use it, but I'm going to pass this along to one of my friends who I know is going to love this even more than I have. But there you go. That is the Coral Obsessions palette. The next one I'm going to talk about is this one right here. This is the Too Faced Natural Face palette, and this is a blush, highlighter, and bronzing palette. I am going to keep this one. I believe I got this in a BoxyCharm box. I absolutely love it. I'm definitely going to keep it. This is like gold. I just absolutely think this is worth every penny, and it's such a nice palette to have all in one if you are traveling and don't want to bring a whole bunch of stuff with you. On to the next one. This is another Too Faced Natural Matte palette, and let me show you what that one looks like. Some gorgeous neutral shades. I have not used this palette, as you can see. I am going to be passing this along to a friend of mine that I know absolutely loves Too Faced and Tarte products, especially their eyeshadows, so I know this is going to go to a great home, and I'm going to pass this one along. This is my Too Faced Contour or Cocoa Contour palette, and as you can see, it is very well loved. There are some highlight powders, there's some bronzers. It's a great palette, worth every penny. I did receive this one in a BoxyCharm box. I'm really excited that I finally have it. I'm definitely keeping that one. Moving along to this cute little palette. Now this is Alamare, I think that's how you say it. It's their little blusher palette. I received this as well in a BoxyCharm box. Actually, there's a lot of palettes here that I got in BoxyCharm. But this is a beautiful little blush palette. There's a peachy shade, a more rosy shade, and a pinky shade in there. Beautiful for all skin types, I think. I really like this brand. I have a few makeup product palettes from this brand, and I've loved every single one of them. I'm definitely keeping them. There is another face palette. This is another bronzing palette. I did just get this again in a BoxyCharm box, and I'm going to be testing it out. I have tried a few things from Ace Beauty. I really think they're a great brand. I'm really excited to try their bronzing because I think I've only tried the eyeshadow palettes. So going along, here is a eyeshadow palette by Zoeva. Now this is a brand new palette of mine. I love the neutral shades. I'm really excited to even try this kind of like mustardy shade right here. I've not tried any products from Zoeva yet, so I'm really excited to give this one a try. And you'll probably see a review on this in my Facebook page, so go ahead and check that out, Jamie Beth Beauty Reviews. Moving along, we're going to be going through some Colourpop products now. I did just get this one. This is their glitter palette. Isn't that gorgeous? I cannot wait to play with these. This was out of stock for quite some time, and it finally is in stock again. I was able to get my hands on it. I'm so very excited. Cannot wait to play with this. Another one that I just got, actually the next couple of them I just got. So this is the Going Coconuts palette, and this is a gorgeous neutral palette. Look at those shades, especially this dark shade down here in the corner. Can't wait to play with this. Again, this was out of stock. It finally was back in stock, and I got my hands on it. So excited. Can't wait to play. Going Coconuts by Colourpop. I think Colourpop has such a great formulation, and I love these 9-pan palettes that they have, and the fact that they have something in every shade known to man. They are just beautifully made palettes. Like I said, the formulation is great. They're all very highly pigmented. You can't go wrong, and they're priced very fairly. So this is the Baby Got Peach palette, and as you can see, nice peachy neutral shades. I cannot wait to play with this one as well. Next Colourpop palette is this one right here. This is the Smoke Show palette, and I think this one has been renamed. So I want to say, and I forget what the name is, but I don't think it's called Smoke Show anymore, but it is the same palette. It is their black and gray palette. This is an amazing palette. If you want to do a classic dark smoky eye, this is your palette. Again, Colourpop, reasonably priced, great formulation, blends well, wonderful. I highly recommend this. Again, they did change the name on this one. I'm not quite sure now what it is called, but this is what it was called when it first came out, Smoke Show Colourpop. I think this is my last Colourpop one. This is the Double Entendre palette. This is one of the first Colourpop palettes that I've purchased. I love it. Again, nice neutral palette. As you can see, there's a pattern in my collection here. I do have a lot of neutral palettes. I just love neutrals. This is a great palette for the summertime. There's just such unique shades, just unique nude shades in there. I really do like this one right here, this kind of like rusty shade right here. Gorgeous, gorgeous palette. I am going to be keeping this one. Moving along to one of my little Tarte palettes. This is the Rainforest of the Sea Volume 3 palette. And Tarte came out with a bunch of these cute little round palettes. There's some shimmers, there's a matte, I think. Yeah, there's one matte shade in here and the rest are shimmer shades. Gorgeous shades, beautiful palette. I don't use it much. I think the only color I have used is this one right here. I'm going to be cleaning this up and sanitizing it and passing this one along to one of my friends that I know will get a little bit more use out of it than I did. Moving along, this is the Profusion Pro Pigment palette. And here, I'll open it up just to show you guys what it looks like. This is brand new. I just purchased this for an upcoming video. Next up is this one right here. This is the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. Again, beautiful neutral shades. It's a gorgeous palette. It's great for creating that smoky eye with these dark shades down over here. I love this palette. I am definitely going to keep it. The next palette is this one here by Rimmel. This is the Rimmel Spice Edition. I did this as part of a dupe post for one of my makeup reviews on my Facebook page. So this is a great dupe for the Naked Heat palette. So if you want something similar to the Naked Heat palette but don't want to pay the price, this is a great palette that will has just the same types of tones that the Naked Heat palette has. I think you will love it. Great palette. I'm going to definitely keep this one. Speaking of naked palettes, here is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this palette, and I actually had the dupe for this as well. It was another one of these Rimmel palettes. It was their cherry palette. I actually recently gave that one away because I have this already, so I'm just going to use the naked palette. But Rimmel also has one of these palettes that matches the cherry palette quite well. So that is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. I'm definitely keeping that one as well. And this is the Too Faced Pretty Rich palette. Gorgeous, fun palette. However, I don't use it anymore. I was using it for a hot second, and now I have it stored away and I don't even use it. So I think I am going to either clean it up, sanitize it, and pass it along, or I'm just going to get rid of it. So I don't know what I'm going to do. If I can't find anyone that wants it, it probably will just, I think it's served its time, and I might be just getting rid of it. But it is a beautiful palette, and I was happy to have it. Here is another newer palette that I just got in my BoxyCharm. This is the Morphe featuring Manny MUA, and here's what that one looks like. I don't know, I might be passing this one along because I have so many of these shades already, and I don't know how much I'm gonna get, you know, how much use I'm gonna get out of this palette. It is a gorgeous palette, gorgeous shades, but like I said, I do have a lot of these shades and other palettes, and I might just be passing this one along to someone I know that will get more use out of it than me. This is an oldie but goodie. This is the Lorac Mega Pro palette. As you can see, I don't use it much, but I am going to keep it because it was purchased to me by my husband as a gift, and I thought that was real sweet that he did that. He bought me makeup. I love it when he does that. Oh, I'm excited to bring this one out. I almost forgot I had this. So this right here, I'll take it out of the plastic. This is a brand new Tati Beauty neutrals palette, and I will be giving this palette away when I reach 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. This is the gift that I'm giving away, so I'm going to be putting it back in the plastic so nothing happens to it. Next up, oh, and here's my Tati Beauty palette. Here it is. It's nice and used. I've hit pan on one of those shades. I absolutely love this, and actually one fell out. I was kind of bummed out about that. I did lose a color. It fell out, but I dropped it, so that's why it fell out. It didn't fall out because the palette's crappy. It fell out because I accidentally dropped the palette. So I'm glad only one of those was ruined in that process. But this is a gorgeous palette. I love all the shimmers, the pressed glitters, the mattes. Everything in this palette was made so well, and I absolutely love it. It is one of my favorite palettes. So that is what that looks like on the inside, and again, someone's going to get the brand new one once I hit 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Your festival palettes. Here it is. A lot of fun shades in this. It still has the plastic coating on it. I am going to be passing this one along because although I do love it, I do love the colors. I have had this palette for a little while now, and I have not used it. So I'm going to be passing this along to someone that I think will get more use out of it. But it is a gorgeous palette. Here is my Midnight Masquerade palette. This is the Disney collection by with Colourpop. Here is what it looks like on the inside. Gorgeous shades. I thought I would actually like this palette a lot more than I do. So I do believe I'm going to be passing this one along as well. Next up is this one right here. This is the Juvia's Place Masquerade palette. Now, I have gotten a lot of use out of this palette. It is gorgeous. Look at those gorgeous shades. This top row I'm just absolutely in love with. You probably recognize a few of these shades. I used it in an Easter eyeshadow look that I did back in April. Go ahead and check out that video. I absolutely loved doing that video and using this palette. I use this palette a lot for Halloween makeup because of the bright colors, and I'll tell you, Juvia's Place is very well made makeup. They're again blendable, pigmented, reasonably priced. I do like the prices of their palettes. It's very inexpensive but high quality makeup, so I'm definitely keeping that one. This is the Laura Lee Nudie Patootie palette, and this was one of the gosh, I've had this palette for quite some time. It was one of the one of the palettes I have received, like one of the really like So next up is this one. This is the Laura Lee Nudie Patootie palette. I do love this palette. I did get a lot of use out of it, but I've had it for quite some time now, and I really think it is time to move this one along. I don't think I'm going to keep this palette, and I don't think I'm going to pass it on to anybody. But it was a gorgeous palette. I really do love it. It was one of the first higher end palettes that I purchased. Nothing against Laura Lee or anything, but I just think this palette has served its purpose and it's time to move it along. Next up is this one. This is by Folklore, and this is their Sweet as Honey palette. You will find that a lot of these Folklore palettes are dupes for other higher end palettes. These shades are just beautiful. I love this palette, and I'm definitely going to keep this one. This is another Juvia's Place palette. This is their Warrior palette, and this is the inside of that. As you can see, it is very, very well loved. I have had this palette for quite some time. I do really, really love it. I'm going to definitely keep it. Next up is this one here. This is Beauty Creations Cali Chic palettes. And here is what that looks like. It almost kind of looks like it would be a Colourpop palette. I haven't used this palette much. I think I am going to pass this one along. Oh, my little elf quads. I use this one every day. This is the Cream and Sugar quad. I did have the Rose Gold quad that I just passed along to my mom, so I only have this one now. These are only $3 and amazing. Next up is my Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. And this is actually, I think, my most expensive palette in my collection. I love this palette. I will never get rid of it. So this is the Ofra Radiant Eyes eyeshadow palette. As you can see, I haven't used it, I haven't tried it. I am going to be passing this one along. This is another one that I haven't really used, although it kind of looks like it's been used when I open it up. This is the Dose of Color Marvelous Mauves palette. I do love these shades. I think this is a beautiful palette, but I have not used it. And I do have these shades in another palette, and I just don't see myself using it anytime soon, so I am going to be passing this one along. This is a Makeup Geek palette that I did myself. I picked out these shades myself. I love them. I mean, they're great. I love Makeup Geek. I wish I could afford to buy the brand new big palettes that are out, but they are definitely on my wish list, and I will be purchasing them at a different date. But I did make this palette myself. You can create your own palettes on their websites, and that is what I did here, so I'm keeping this one. This is the Lawless, the Little One palette, and this is a great little nudie palette. It's great for traveling, and it's great for a daytime look as well as a smoky eye look. So I do bring this a lot when I'm traveling because I can create a couple different looks with it. It is really well made. I like the pigmentation and the formulation of the eyeshadows, and I think this is a cute little travel size eyeshadow palette. This I am definitely going to keep. This is the Too Faced Just Peachy palette. There's a lot of beautiful, again, neutral shades in here. It does still smell like peaches. I love it. It is the best, so I'm definitely going to keep it. This is the Tarte Pro palette. I am going to be passing this palette along. I am not a huge fan of Tarte eyeshadows. There's nothing bad about them, but I have other eyeshadows that I gravitate towards more versus the Tarte eyeshadow, so I'm definitely going to be moving this on to someone that I know is going to absolutely love it. Next up is this little Morphe palette. This is the Morphe 9C palette, and here's what that one looks like on the inside. Again, gorgeous palette. I do love these 9-pan palettes, but I don't use this one a lot. Again, I'm going to be passing this one along. There is a palette that I love, love, love. This is the BH Cosmetics Aurora Lights palette, and look at those gorgeous shades. Oh my god, they're so beautiful. I use this a lot for Halloween makeup. I will never get rid of this palette. I think it is gorgeous and worth all the, like, every penny I spent on it. Their BH Cosmetics are very, very reasonably priced. They have great makeup, great eyeshadows. I definitely recommend BH Cosmetics. There is another BH Cosmetics palette. This is Take Me to Brazil. As I drop it, oh my gosh. Take Me to Brazil. Gorgeous, fun shades here in this palette. I don't know if I'm going to keep this because I do think I have another palette like this with these types. I do. It's I do have one that's like this. So I think I'm actually going to give this one to my daughter. She likes to play with this palette a lot. So I think I'm going to actually give that to her. Fun little palette, great shades. Here is my Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette remastered. Here is what it looks like. Oops. On the inside, it looks, I mean, again, it is a very well-loved palette. I'm definitely going to keep this. I absolutely love Huda Beauty makeup. And, oh, this is one of my very, very, very first big purchases. This one is the Anastasia Contour Light to Medium kit. And there it is. This is very, very old. I think this is probably a couple years old now. I am going to be getting rid of this palette. As you can see, I hit pan on a couple of them already, the ones that I used a lot. But because of the age of it, I think it is kind of up there in age, and I will be getting rid of this one. So in this bin, I had a total of 45 palettes. I'm keeping 29. I'm getting rid of 16. Moving on to the next bin. So here it is, the next bin full of palettes. I'm going to go ahead and get started. First palette up is this one right here. It's the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette. It's right here. This is a gorgeous palette with a bunch of beautiful blue shades in it. I use this a lot for Halloween makeup, so I am definitely going to keep this. And this one right here, I'm also going to keep. This is the Blood Sugar palette. Again, a bunch of gorgeous shades. I do use these two palettes for a lot of Halloween makeup, so I am going to keep it. Storybook Cosmetics, and this is their Fairy Tales. So we're gonna open that up. Look at these gorgeous, gorgeous colors. I do love these shades. The only thing I don't like is how big and bulky this palette is. So I might be getting rid of this one. Next up is this one. This is the BH Cosmetics Opalescence palette. And this is one of my favorite go-to neutrally palettes. There are some pops of color over here, but this is a gorgeous, well-made palette. As you can see, I've hit pan on a couple colors. Moving along, here is the Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice palette. This is, again, a gorgeous palette. I got it in a BoxyCharm box. I do, however, think I'm going to be moving this one along to someone that I think will like it a little bit more than I do. This one right here, this is the Ciate London, the Editor palette. So look at this, isn't it gorgeous? There are a lot of beautiful shades. It almost gives me the Huda Beauty Nudes palette. Is that what it is? But it kind of gives me those vibes. I do love this palette. I do believe I'm going to be keeping this one. So this is another palette that I really love. This is the Revolution Makeup by Petra palette. And what I think is so cool about this palette is that there are shadows on the top as well as the bottom. Now, I don't use this palette very often, so I do think I am going to pass this one along. Next up are my Inglot shades. I did create this palette myself. I am going to keep it as one of the first real expensive palette purchases I made. This was not cheap, and I do love these shades. I don't gravitate towards this palette much anymore, but I am going to keep it for nostalgia reasons. This is the Dominique's Cosmetics Celestial Thunder palette. I am going to be moving this palette along. I have not used it yet. I've had it for a while. I don't see myself using it. Now, this is by Jaclyn Hill the Vault collection. I know there is a lot of controversy over these eyeshadow palettes, and because so many people do not like Jaclyn Hill, as you can see, these are very well used palettes. But I do think I am going to actually get rid of these. I'm going to, I don't use these palettes anymore. I haven't used them in a long time, and I think I'm just going to, I don't even know if I'm going to pass them along. I think I'm just going to get rid of them. Next up is the 35G Bronze Goals palette. As you can see, it's very well loved. I don't use this palette anymore, so I do think I am going to get rid of it, as well as these two Morphe palettes. Now, I've actually used Morphe for quite some time. Before Morphe even was a super popular brand like it is now, I was using it because I just thought I loved the fact that they had like these nice big palettes with a bunch of shadows in it, and it's a reasonably priced palette, and the shadows are really, really nice. Now, this is one of the first Morphe palettes I purchased. This is the 35W palette. As you can see, well loved. We're missing a few pans because I use those eyeshadows up. I am going to be getting rid of this palette just because it is an old palette, and I think it's time to get rid of it. Morphe doesn't even, I don't even think you can get stuff in these plastic palettes or palette holders anymore. I think they're all this cardboard now. So, I mean, that can tell you how long I've had these palettes. This is the 35OS palette. It is a shimmer palette. Beautiful, beautiful shimmer shades. They're all shimmer shades, although I have not used this palette in quite some time, and it is quite old, as you can see. So this one I'm going to be getting rid of as well. Next up is this Morphe palette. This is their Artistry palette. It's a gorgeous palette, beautiful colors. However, this is probably one of the most poorly made Morphe palettes that I have ever purchased. I do not like how these shadows blend out. This yellow, although it's gorgeous, you can't get it to blend out. It just pretty much goes away when you try to blend it out on your lid. I mean, I'm so sad because there are such beautiful shades in this palette, but I am definitely going to be getting rid of this palette. This is a Clinique palette that a friend gave me recently. I am going to keep it because it's just too cute. I think this is going to be a great little travel palette. I have not used it yet, but I am going to. Next up is the Juvia's Place Nubian 3 Coral palette. This is one of my favorite palettes. As you can see, that coral color, that shimmer coral color, is by far my most favorite eyeshadow shade ever. All last year, my everyday look was this coral palette, or this coral color, this little brown color on the outer corners, and that was it. Nice, simple, everyday look. I worship this palette. I actually think I'm going to buy another one because I want that coral color again. So next up is a BoxyCharm palette that I received, and it is their Hello Charmer palette. Look at this gorgeous palette. It's so pretty. It really is, and I'm really excited to have it, although I have never used it, and I do think I'm going to pass this along. So next up is the Sugar Rush palette. This palette is so cool. I love it. The shades are gorgeous. It's a perfect summer palette. Perfect summer palette. These, like, I mean, let me show you. Look at that. Oh, here, it would help if I put my finger in front of the camera. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Here, let me get another one. Look at these colors. They are so beautiful. I absolutely adore this palette. I'm going to definitely keep it. I don't even know if they still make this palette, but I am keeping it. So next up are my Stila palettes. These are amazing. This is After Hours? This is After Hours. Look at those shades. So gorgeous, so beautiful. I have two of these. I have the After Hours, and I have the Happy Hour, which is right here. Look at those. Look at that blue right here. Look at that blue. So gorgeous. I don't remember which one of these palettes is no longer available, but one of these is no longer available. But I am going to be keeping these ones forever. And there is another Colourpop palette. I just bought this one. This is the Bare Necessities palette, and look at all those gorgeous, gorgeous neutral shades. I cannot wait to start playing with this palette as well as this one. Actually, I think the next handful of them I am keeping. So this is the Be Perfect Cosmetics Clientele palette, and this is featuring Makeup by Ja. If you guys don't know who Makeup by Ja is, she is a YouTuber. She is a phenomenal makeup artist. Look her up. I think you guys will fall instantly in love. This is her palette. Gorgeous, gorgeous shades. I'm definitely keeping this palette. It is one of my favorite palettes. Next up is this one right here. This is the James Charles palette. Here it is. I do like this palette a lot. I am going to keep it. This has a lot of great shadows in it, beautifully pigmented, blends well, and this is a nice little palette again when I am creating real creative looks, especially ones for my Halloween videos. So I'm definitely keeping this palette. Next up is this one right here. This is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. Here it is, as you can see, very well loved. I am not getting rid of this palette. I absolutely love this palette. It is one of my favorites. So keeping it. You probably won't see too many other things from Jaclyn Hill in my collection, but I'm definitely keeping this one. Next up is another Colourpop palette. This is the So Jaded palette. This is Kathleen Light's collaboration with Colourpop. I just bought this palette. I'm a little late to the game, I know, but oh my gosh, this has been on my wish list for a while. I'm so excited that I finally have it, and I can't wait to start playing with it. So next up is this one. This is the BH Cosmetics Carnival Pro palette featuring Stacey Marie. Here is what it looks like on the inside. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. You have some shimmer shades. Oops, shimmer shades are... You have some highlighters on the side here. Then you have all of these gorgeous, gorgeous shades. I have done a few videos featuring this palette. This is by far my favorite palette. I know I've said that about a few of them, but this is it. So I had 28 palettes in this bin. I'm keeping 17 and I'm getting rid of 11 palettes. So I am getting rid of, I believe, almost 30 palettes total, which I think is pretty good. Like I said, I didn't have a huge amount of palettes, but it was time for me to purge some. So I'm really happy with what I have accomplished today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Remember to hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, as well as the notification bell next to it to be notified of all of my upcoming videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!